Hey there, English learners. Have you ever been in a situation where you said something completely normal in your language, but in English, people looked at you like you just spoke in alien code?
Oh, absolutely. Like the time I told my American colleague, "You've become fat," thinking I was just making an observation. The awkward silence that followed? Unforgettable.
That's exactly what we're talking about today. Cultural nuances, the invisible rules that can make or break your English conversations.
And here's the thing, your grammar can be perfect. Your vocabulary can be amazing, but if you don't understand these cultural layers, you might accidentally offend someone, miss a joke, or just feel completely lost in conversations.
So, if you want to go from just speaking English to actually connecting with English speakers naturally and confidently, you're in the right place. And hey, if you're ready to master these hidden rules of English communication, hit that subscribe button right now.
Because by the end of this episode, you'll understand how to navigate small talk, decode indirect language, and even handle sensitive topics like a pro. Trust me, this is the stuff they don't teach you in textbooks.
All right, let's dive in. I'm Alex.
And I'm Anna. Let's unlock these cultural secrets together.
Okay, so let's start with the basics. Anna, what's the first thing beginners absolutely need to know about cultural nuances in English?
Great question. The number one thing is understanding that English speakers, especially in countries like the US, UK, Canada, and Australia, tend to be very indirect.
Indirect? What do you mean?
So imagine you're at a friend's house and they offer you tea. You say no thank you because you're being polite. But guess what? In many English-speaking cultures, they might ask you 2 or even 3 times.
Right, because they want to make sure you're not just being polite. They want to give you a real chance to say yes.
Exactly. In many other cultures, if you say no once, that's it. But in English-speaking cultures, there's this dance of politeness. You might need to say, "Are you sure? I'm making one anyway." Or, "Oh, come on, just a small cup."
This is so important because beginners often think no means no universally, but culturally, no might actually mean ask me again to show you really care.
Now let's talk about greetings. Basic stuff, right? But here's where culture sneaks in.
Oh, yes, the classic, how are you? This confuses so many learners.
Because it's not really a question. When someone says, "How are you?" in English, especially in American English, they're not asking for your life story.
They're not expecting you to say, well, I have a headache, my cat is sick, and my neighbor is too loud.
Exactly. The cultural expectation is a quick, positive response. "Good, thanks. How are you?" Or "Great, and you?" Even if you're having a terrible day, this is just a greeting ritual.
It's like saying hello, but in question form. Now, beginners, here's your cultural tip. Save the real answers for close friends or when someone specifically asks for details.
Perfect. Now, let's talk about personal space. This is a big one.
Oh, yes. So in English-speaking cultures, particularly in the UK and US, people value their personal space. We're talking about an arm's length distance in most social situations.
Right. If you're standing too close, people might step back unconsciously. It's not that they don't like you, it's just the cultural comfort zone.
And touching? In professional settings, a handshake is standard, but hugs, kisses on the cheek, or touching someone's arm while talking, that depends on your relationship level.
For beginners, here's the safe rule. In professional or first meeting situations, stick to handshakes and keep about 2 to 3 feet between you and the other person.
Now, let's talk about a phrase that confuses everyone. Let's do lunch sometime.
Oh, this one. Beginners, listen carefully. When someone says, "Let's do lunch sometime," or "We should hang out," they might not mean it literally.
Wait, what? They're lying?
Not lying, it's more like polite interest. In English-speaking cultures, especially American culture, people say these things to be friendly and positive, but it doesn't always mean they're making concrete plans.
So, how do you know if they're serious?
If they're serious, they'll follow up with specifics. Let's do lunch sometime. Are you free next Tuesday? Or we should hang out. Let me check my calendar. Specifics means they're serious.
Beginners, here's your action step. When someone says something vague like, we should meet up, if you're interested, you suggest a specific time. That sounds great. Are you free this weekend?
Perfect tip. Now, before we move to the next level, let's talk about compliments.
Yes, because giving and receiving compliments is actually very cultural.
In English-speaking cultures, compliments are given pretty freely. I love your shoes. Your presentation was amazing. That's a great haircut.
And here's the cultural rule. When you receive a compliment, say thank you. Don't deflect it or disagree with it.
Right. If someone says, your English is so good, don't say, no, it's terrible. Just smile and say, thank you, I've been practicing a lot.
This feels strange for learners from cultures where modesty is more valued, but in English-speaking cultures, rejecting a compliment can actually seem rude or awkward.
Exactly. You can be humble and accept a compliment. Thanks. I still have a lot to learn, but I appreciate that.
Perfect. Okay, so we've covered the basics: indirect communication, greetings as rituals, personal space, vague social invitations, and compliments. These are your foundational cultural nuances.
And if you're already feeling like, wow, there's so much I didn't know, just wait. We're about to go deeper.
All right, let's level up. Anna, what should intermediate learners focus on when it comes to cultural nuances?
At this level, you need to understand the art of reading between the lines. Because English speakers, especially in British culture, are masters of saying one thing and meaning another.
Ooh, give us an example.
Okay, imagine you're in a meeting and you present an idea. Your British colleague says, that's quite interesting. Now, is that good or bad?
Interesting sounds positive, right?
Actually, it depends on the tone and context. Interesting can mean I genuinely find this fascinating, or I hate it, but I'm too polite to say so.
Wait, seriously?
Seriously, British English, especially, is famous for understatement and politeness that masks the real message.
With respect often means I completely disagree. That's one way to do it means that's the wrong way.
This is blowing my mind. So how do intermediate learners figure out the real meaning?
Pay attention to tone, facial expressions, and context. If someone pauses before saying interesting, or if their voice goes flat, they probably don't love your idea. If they lean forward, smile, and say, that's interesting, with energy, they're genuinely engaged.
Nonverbal cues are huge here.
Absolutely. Now, let's talk about another intermediate skill: small talk. Americans and British people love small talk.
Right, those seemingly pointless conversations about weather, traffic, or weekend plans.
But here's the thing: small talk isn't pointless at all. It's actually the cultural gateway to building relationships and trust.
Exactly. In many cultures, you can jump straight into business or deep topics, but in English-speaking cultures, especially in professional settings, you need to warm up with small talk first. So, intermediate learners, here are safe small talk topics: weather, sports, weekend plans, TV shows, food, and recent local events.
And here are topics to avoid in small talk: money, politics, religion, age, weight, or deeply personal questions.
For example, don't ask someone, how much do you earn? Or why aren't you married yet? These questions feel invasive in English-speaking cultures.
Now, there's an art to small talk. You want to ask open questions that keep the conversation flowing. Instead of, did you have a good weekend? Try, what did you get up to this weekend?
That's brilliant, because what did you get up to invites storytelling, while did you have a good weekend gets you just yes or no.
Here's another intermediate nuance. The word sorry. English speakers, especially British people, say sorry all the time.
Oh my goodness, yes. We say sorry when someone bumps into us?
Right. Sorry doesn't always mean I apologize for a mistake. It can mean, excuse me, or could you repeat that? Or even, I sympathize with you.
If you step on someone's foot, oh, sorry. If you didn't hear what someone said, sorry. If someone tells you bad news, I'm so sorry to hear that.
Intermediate learners need to understand that sorry is a social lubricant. It keeps interactions smooth and polite.
Now, let's talk about something really important, giving feedback or criticism.
This is where culture makes a huge difference. In English-speaking workplaces, especially in the US and UK, direct criticism is often softened with positive language.
It's called the feedback sandwich. You start with something positive, then give the criticism, then end with something positive.
For example, you did a great job on the presentation structure. I think the data section could be clearer with some visual aids. Overall, though, your delivery was really confident.
See? The criticism is in the middle, cushioned by compliments. This feels less harsh and more constructive.
But here's the tricky part. When you receive feedback like this, don't ignore the criticism in the middle. Some learners only hear the positive parts and miss the actual improvement points.
Great point. Listen carefully to phrases like however, or but, or one thing to consider. These signal the real feedback.
Now, let's discuss something that trips up so many intermediate learners: humor and sarcasm.
Oh, this is a tough one. English speakers, especially British and Australian people, use sarcasm and irony constantly.
Sarcasm is when you say the opposite of what you mean, usually in a humorous way. If it's raining heavily and someone says, "Lovely weather we're having," that's sarcasm.
The challenge is that sarcasm relies on tone. If you don't catch the tone, you might think they're serious.
Here's a tip for intermediate learners. If someone says something that seems absurd or contradicts reality, they're probably being sarcastic. Listen for that playful, exaggerated tone.
And self-deprecating humor, making fun of yourself, is very common in British culture, especially. I'm absolutely rubbish at cooking, or I managed to get lost in my own neighborhood.
This can confuse learners because it seems like people are being negative about themselves, but it's actually a way to seem humble and relatable.
Right. If someone makes a self-deprecating joke, don't take it literally. Just laugh along or offer a light reassurance. Oh, I'm sure you're not that bad.
Okay, here's another medium-level nuance: the concept of saving face.
Yes. In English-speaking cultures, people try to help others avoid embarrassment. If someone spills their drink, you might quickly grab napkins and say, "No worries, happens all the time," to make them feel less embarrassed.
Or if someone forgets your name, you might jump in with, "I'm Jordan, by the way," to help them out without drawing attention to the fact they forgot. This is all about maintaining harmony and making sure no one feels humiliated. It's considered kind and thoughtful.
Intermediate learners, practice this. If you see someone in an awkward situation, think, how can I help them feel comfortable?
All right, we've covered indirect language, small talk strategies, apology culture, feedback sandwiches, sarcasm, and saving face. You're already thinking like an advanced speaker.
And trust me, once you master these, you're ready for the professional level. This is where things get really interesting.
Welcome to the professional level. This is where we discuss the subtle, sophisticated aspects of cultural communication in English.
At this level, you're not just understanding what's said, you're understanding what's not said. You're picking up on power dynamics, hidden meanings, and cultural expectations that even native speakers sometimes struggle with.
Let's start with something crucial: high context versus low context communication.
Okay, so this is a concept from cultural studies. Low context cultures, like the US and Germany, rely on explicit, direct communication. The message is in the words.
High context cultures like Japan or many Middle Eastern cultures rely more on implicit communication. The message is in the context, the relationship, the nonverbal cues.
English-speaking cultures, especially American culture, lean toward low-context communication. But here's the twist. British culture is actually more high context.
Exactly. Americans tend to be more direct. I need this report by Friday. British speakers might say, it would be wonderful if we could have this report by end of week.
Both are making the same request, but the level of directness differs. At a professional level, you need to adapt your communication style based on who you're talking to.
If you're working with Americans, be clear and direct. If you're working with British colleagues, add more softening language and read between the lines more carefully.
Now, let's talk about something really sophisticated: managing disagreement professionally.
Yes, because in professional English settings, outright disagreement can seem confrontational. You need to disagree agreeably.
I love that. So instead of saying, that's wrong, or I disagree, you might say,
I see where you're coming from, but have we considered...
or that's an interesting perspective. Another way to look at it might be,
You're acknowledging their point first, then introducing your different view. This shows respect while still contributing your ideas.
you can also use phrases like, I take your point, however, or building on what you said, even when you're actually going in a different direction.
This is linguistic diplomacy. At a professional level, it's not just about what you say, but how you say it to maintain relationships while advancing your ideas.
Now, let's discuss something very nuanced: email culture in English-speaking workplaces.
Oh, this is huge because email has its own cultural rules. First, there's the greeting. Dear is formal, hi is standard, hey is casual.
And the level of formality changes based on your relationship, the company culture, and the situation. A startup might use hey, while a law firm might stick with dear.
And the passive voice in professional communication, a mistake was made, instead of you made a mistake. This deflects blame and sounds more diplomatic.
Right. And phrases like, I was wondering if, or would it be possible to, sound more polite than direct commands.
Here's a professional secret. In English-speaking business culture, especially American, the word just is overused. I'm just following up, or just checking in.
Just makes your request sound smaller and less imposing. But here's the thing: overusing it can make you sound less confident.
Exactly. At a professional level, know when to be assertive. I'm following up on my previous email. Sounds more confident than I'm just following up.
Now, let's talk about something really advanced: cultural attitudes toward time.
Yes, because in American and Northern European English-speaking cultures, being on time is being late, and being early is being on time.
Punctuality is seen as a sign of respect and professionalism. If a meeting starts at 2 p.m., you should be there at 1:59 p.m.
But in some other English-speaking contexts, like parts of the Caribbean or more relaxed social settings, time is more flexible.
At a professional level, you need to read the cultural expectations. In corporate America or London, strict punctuality. In more relaxed, creative industries, there might be more flexibility.
And if you're going to be late, always communicate. I'm running 5 minutes behind. Apologies. This shows you respect their time.
Now, here's something really sophisticated: understanding taboo topics and how to navigate them when they come up.
Right. We mentioned earlier that politics, religion, and money are generally avoided in small talk. But in professional or academic settings, you might need to discuss these topics carefully.
The key is objectivity and respect. Instead of, that Trump was terrible or Trump was great, you might say, Trump's presidency was polarizing, a neutral, factual observation.
You're describing the situation without imposing your personal judgment. This keeps the conversation professional and respects that others might have different views.
Same with religion. Instead of, that religion is wrong, you might say, different religions have different perspectives on this issue, acknowledging diversity without judgment.
At a professional level, you can discuss challenging topics, but you do it with nuance, respect, and awareness that your audience might include people with different backgrounds and beliefs.
Now, let's talk about something really subtle: power dynamics and language.
This is fascinating. In English, the way you address people signals the power relationship, first names versus titles.
In American culture, first names are used very quickly, even with bosses. Hi, Susan, even if Susan is the CEO.
But in British culture or more traditional settings, you might use Mr. Smith or Dr. Johnson until invited to use first names.
And in written communication, pay attention to how someone signs their email. If they sign Dr. Martinez, use their title. If they sign Carlos, you can use their first name.
Now, let's talk about something crucial for professional English speakers: code switching.
Oh, this is fascinating. Code switching is when you change your language style based on your audience. We all do this.
You might speak more casually with friends, like, "Want to grab coffee?" But with a client, it's, "Would you like to meet for coffee?"
At a professional level, you should be able to move fluidly between formal and informal registers depending on the context.
You're reading the room, assessing the relationship, and adjusting your language accordingly. This is a sign of sophisticated communication skills.
Now, here's something really advanced: understanding cultural metaphors and references.
English is full of sports metaphors, especially American English. That's a home run. We need a game plan, moving the goalposts.
If you're not familiar with baseball or American football, these can be confusing. Home run means a big success. Game plan means strategy. Moving the goalposts means changing the rules unfairly.
British English has cricket references, like "that's not cricket" means "that's not fair play," or "batting on a sticky wicket" means dealing with a difficult situation.
At a professional level, familiarize yourself with common metaphors in your field. Business English loves sports and war metaphors especially.
We're targeting the market. War metaphor: let's tackle this problem. Sports metaphor: we're in the trenches. War metaphor.
Understanding these helps you sound more natural and shows you understand the cultural context of the language.
Now, let's talk about something really important: giving presentations in English with cultural awareness.
Yes, because presentation styles differ across cultures. American presentations tend to be enthusiastic, with confident claims and clear conclusions.
We're the best in the industry, or "this will revolutionize the market." Americans appreciate confidence and bold statements.
British presentations might be more understated, like, "We believe this approach has merit," or "early results are promising."
At a professional level, match your presentation style to your audience's cultural expectations. With Americans, show enthusiasm and confidence. With British audiences, you might tone it down slightly.
And structure matters. English-speaking audiences, especially American, want you to start with your main point. Today, I'll show you how our product increases efficiency by 40%.
Don't save the conclusion for the end. Give them the bottom line up front, then provide the supporting details.
This is opposite to some cultures where you build up to the conclusion. In English professional contexts, front-load your key message.
All right, final professional level tip. Understanding that English-speaking cultures, especially American culture, value optimism and positivity.
Yes, even when discussing problems, frame things positively. Instead of, "We have a major problem," try, "We have a significant challenge, but here's our strategy to address it."
Challenge sounds more manageable than problem, and immediately offering solutions shows you're proactive, not just complaining.
This positive framing is everywhere in professional English. Opportunities for improvement instead of failures. Lessons learned instead of mistakes.
It's not about being fake, it's about maintaining a constructive, forward-looking attitude that's valued in English-speaking workplace cultures.
At this professional level, you're not just speaking English, you're thinking in the cultural frameworks that shape how English speakers communicate, make decisions, and build relationships.
And that's what separates good English speakers from truly exceptional, culturally fluent communicators.
Wow, Alex, we have covered so much today, from basic greetings to professional business communication. Cultural nuances are everywhere in English.
Absolutely, Jordan. And here's what I want our listeners to understand. You can study grammar for years, you can memorize thousands of words, but if you don't understand these cultural layers,
You'll always feel like something's missing, like you're on the outside of conversations looking in.
but now you have the keys. You understand why English speakers say things in certain ways. You know how to read between the lines. You can navigate small talk, business meetings, and sensitive topics with confidence.
Think about where you started this journey. Maybe you're a beginner who just learned that "how are you" isn't really a question, or an intermediate learner who now understands the feedback sandwich.
Or a professional who can now code switch and handle complex cultural dynamics.
Wherever you are in your English journey, you've taken a massive step forward today, because cultural fluency, that's what separates people who speak English from people who truly connect in English.
And connection is what language is all about, right? It's not about perfection. It's about understanding and being understood. It's about building relationships across cultures.
So here's what we want you to do right now. First, if this podcast has helped you see English in a new way, subscribe to our channel. We release new episodes every week, diving deep into different aspects of English learning.
And hit that notification bell so you never miss an episode. We've got upcoming episodes on business English, travel English, dating and relationships in English, and so much more.
And leave us a comment. Tell us which cultural nuance surprised you the most today. Was it the indirect communication, the use of sorry, the feedback sandwich?
We read every single comment, and your feedback helps us create better content for you. Plus, it's amazing to see our community of learners from all around the world sharing their experiences.
Third, practice. Don't just passively listen and forget. This week, try using one of the techniques we discussed. Maybe practice the feedback sandwich or pay attention to small talk in your workplace.
Notice how native speakers use these cultural patterns. Watch movies, TV shows, or YouTube videos with this new awareness. You'll start seeing these nuances everywhere.
And share this podcast with someone who's learning English. Maybe a friend, a colleague, a family member.
Because great communication bridges cultures, and we're all in this together.
You know what's amazing? By understanding these cultural nuances, you're not just becoming better at English, you're becoming a more culturally aware, empathetic, and effective communicator in general.
These skills transfer across all aspects of life, whether you're negotiating a business deal, making new friends, or just trying to order coffee without confusion.
Yes, the dreaded coffee shop interaction.
You now have the cultural toolkit to navigate English-speaking environments with confidence and grace.
So here's our final message to you. Be patient with yourself. Cultural fluency doesn't happen overnight. You'll make mistakes. You might accidentally offend someone or misread a situation.
And that's okay. Every mistake is a learning opportunity. Every awkward interaction teaches you something new. The fact that you're here, investing time in understanding these nuances, already puts you ahead of most learners.
You're not just learning a language. You're opening doors to new relationships, opportunities, and experiences. You're building bridges between your culture and English-speaking cultures.
And in our globalized world, that's an incredibly valuable skill.
So keep learning, keep practicing, keep curious about the why behind the language. That curiosity will take you further than any textbook ever could.
Thank you so much for spending this time with us today. We're Alex.
And I'm Jordan. Remember, language learning is a journey, not a destination. Enjoy every step of it.
Until next time, keep speaking, keep learning, and most importantly, keep connecting.
Subscribe, comment, and we'll see you in the next episode. Take care.
Bye for now.
Bye.